This is the AEW Dynamite May 7, 2025 full show results video which takes place at Detroit's Masonic Temple. Hangman Adam Page makes his entrance and gets on the mic and says he doesn't understand why we cheer for him after everything he's done, but he wants to let us know that it does make a difference and he's grateful. He shouldn't have to say it, but the past 2 years have been some kind of special hell, and after what happened to him and his family he wanted revenge, he wanted justice, and he found it. He addresses Shane "Swerve" Strickland directly and says he'll never forget and he'll probably never forgive, but for himself, he'll have to put it behind him. And when he made that decision, he decided to enter the Owen Hart Foundation Cup and he defeated Josh Alexander in the first round, and last week in front of his family he defeated Kyle Fletcher. And finally, at Double or Nothing, for a chance at the World Championship, he will wrestle who everyone says is the best wrestler in the world, Will Ospreay. Then comes Will Ospreay and says it's a pleasure to meet the Hangman, and in the same breath he wants to apologize because it's clear that Page has been going through a lot and he understands how much this match means to him. We haven't seen that look in his eyes for a very long time, and while everyone here really wants him to beat those demons and reclaim his spot as the main character, Ospreay has a problem with that. He understands this is about Hanger's redemption, but it's far too little too late, and this is really about Will's ascension. They jaw at each other off mic and the Don Callis family shows up on the stage. Callis tries to warn Ospreay, accusing Adam of being a mentally ill sociopath, but Will's not having it, telling Don to send any two of his guys down. Right, Page grabs him by the wrist and peels it off and stares him down, and Callis says they can't get through a segment without trying to kill each other, so he'll take any two members and book them in a tag match as long as Hangman doesn't have another mental breakdown before next week. The family take their leave and Will and Adam stare each other down and do a little more jawing before Ospreay takes his leave. Stokely Hathaway rolls up on Tony Schiavone with FTR in tow and asks if he has an issue with FTR. Tony stammers out the beginning of an answer and Stoke says they issued Schiavone an apology, but he keeps having negative things to say about them and about him. Tony begs off as Hathaway continues, complaining about being referred to as a snake in the grass, and says Schiavone is a decrepit, pale, pasty piece of shit. Tony grabs the mic and says that's enough and they're trying to do a show here. Stoke shoves him down and Tony springs right back up to defend himself, but FTR circle up around Hathaway and tell him to calm down before pivoting to cut a promo about how Daniel Garcia turned his back on them and his father told him sometimes you gotta learn lessons a hard way, and on Collision tomorrow night it's gonna hurt Garcia more than it's gonna hurt them, emotionally. Dax Harwood tells Tony to tell Nigel McGuinness they'll see him tomorrow night, and they head out. Anna, Jay and Harley Cameron are backstage, Cameron giving Jay a pep talk and Harley says they have the T and the A, the tenacity and the aggression, and Anna adds the obvious alternate meaning for those in case you didn't have that scouted, before hopping on Cameron's back and riding off stage left. Then we saw a match between Anna Jay versus Penelope Ford versus Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm, and the result of this match was Toni Storm won the match by submission with a crossface chicken wing on Penelope Ford. The Hurt Syndicate make their entrance and get on the mic, and MVP introduces his associates, Shelton Benjamin and the almighty Bobby Lashley, the AEW World Tag Team Champions. This is AEW, right? Where the best wrestle. Where are all the tag teams stepping up to take the tag titles off of them? They like to hurt people, but who will hurt them? Top Flight comes, and Darius Martin gets on the mic and says he'll be real. They've been down on their luck lately, which is why they have to look at this challenge like an opportunity. Dante takes over and says they know they're the underdogs and nobody has money on them, but they've proven they can hold their own against championship teams before and they'll do it again, so Motor City, do you want to see a miracle? MJF blindsides Top Flight and lays them out. He divides his attention between the brothers, keeping them down and out, biting, choking, smearing Dante's blood on his chest and powerbombing him into the apron. Max gets in the ring and takes a mic from MVP and proclaims in Lashley's face that he hurts people. Bobby takes the microphone from him and gives Montel a look. He silently confers with Shelton as well and says he'll be waiting for MJF next week. The Elite cut a promo where Okada tells Kevin Knight to have a good night. Ricochet rolls up and the Bucks ask why he's so eager to team with them, and he says he knows they have a swerve problem and he's beaten them twice and he's got his number, so if they just follow his lead he'll take them to victory. The Bucks open a door to their locker room and are surprised by Death Riders waiting for them. They go inside and Marina Schaffer slams the door on the camera's face. Then we saw a match between Nick Wayne versus Rhino for the ROH World Television Championship, and the result of this match was Nick Wayne defeated Rhino by pinfall with a killswitch, retaining the ROH World Television Championship. Post-match, Nick wants his title back but Christian refuses, insisting on fastening it around his waist himself before changing his mind, contemplating the title, and dropping it at Nick's feet. Rush cuts a promo in a stairwell and says Kevin Knight cost him $100,000 and now he'll have to repay him in blood, and remember, when you mess with the bull, you get the horns. Then we saw a match between Mark Briscoe, Mike Bailey, and Swerve Strickland vs Ricochet and Young Bucks, and the result of this match was Ricochet and Young Bucks won the match by pinfall with a small package from Nicholas Jackson on Shane Strickland. Renee Paquette interviews Will Ospreay backstage, but before he can say much, MJF interrupts to do a commercial for replicas of his Dynamite diamond ring on shop.aew.com. Will asks why he's here, and MJF says he genuinely hopes Ospreay wins the Owen and goes to All in Texas and wins his world title so he gets an easy dub when he goes to get his title back. Ospreay says if it's that easy, why wasn't he in the Owen? Is there some little fear that it ends with Will picking him up and dunking him on his head again? And how's the power feeling in your arms? Max says Ospreay is the reason they put instructions on the shampoo bottle and says when they wrestle again will find out nobody's on the level of the devil. Ospreay pulls him in when he goes to leave and says he's Will Ospreay and he is on another level. Back from the commercial, we get Renee Paquette's sit-down interview with Jamie Hayter. She says she'll be damned if she lets Mercedes win the Owen, since she's the opposite of everything Owen Hart stood for, and she wants to strip away the character and get to know the real Mercedes. It's not about gold or glory, it's about showing Mercedes that she can't do whatever she wants and she's not the second coming. Mercedes attacks out of nowhere and they brawl off down the hallway and out onto a balcony off near the stage. Mercedes runs away and Hayter gives chase. Mercedes makes a stand on the stage and ducks under Hayterade and runs away to the back. Jamie takes a moment with the crowd but Mercedes blindsides her and locks the statement maker in. Referees show up to call her off and Mercedes wrenches the hold in a moment longer before getting up and posing with the trophy. Willow Nightingale is interviewed backstage and she says she's lucky she's not alone in fighting the Death Riders, but she wants to make sure she's the first to put fists in faces. Chris Statlander rolls up and says if she doesn't want to talk in the back she'll do it out here. Willow says she's glad she's sorry or whatever and it's sad that she lost the Owen this year but just think that Willow could have won it last year if it weren't for her, so the conversation is over. Except Willow will see her in the ring tomorrow if she accepts, and Chris takes the match. Kevin Knight makes his entrance and Rush blindsides him and beats him down on the stage while Dralistico watches and keeps security off his back. Speedball Mike Bailey makes the save and checks on his pal. Referee Aubrey Edwards tries to call it off but Kevin refuses to give the matchup so she tells Speedball that they've got to get out of ringside and we get a bell. Then we saw a match between Okada vs Kevin Knight, and the result of this match was Okada defeated Kevin Knight by pinfall with a Rainmaker. In the main event of the show, we saw a match between Claudio Castagnoli vs Samoa Joe, and the result of this match was Samoa Joe defeated Claudio Castagnoli by submission with the Coquina Clutch. Post-match, Joe is ready for the rest of Death Riders to come on down, then Will Hobbs arrives to back his pal Joe up and wallops Claudio with a steel chair. They set the chair up and Samoa Gourdbuster Castagnoli into it but Jon Moxley doesn't take the bait, and the show goes off the air. How much you would rate this week's Dynamite show? Tell me in the comments, do not forget to subscribe the channel, and thanks for watching.